The woman who beats a man must not stop fearing men. Welcome to Psalm 38 of section 5 of chapter 12 of the Holy Quran, Namshi. We're going to Joseph and his fellow prisoners. He's preaching to them before telling them the meaning of their dreams. I believe I'm right. I believe that's the case. Namshi. Watabatu wa itabatu milata abai Ibrahima wa Ishaka wa Yakuba. Ibrahima wa Ishaka wa Yakuba. And I follow the ways of my fathers, Abai, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. ما كان لنا أن نشرك بالله من شيء ما كان لنا أن نشرك بالله شيء and never could we attribute any partners whatever to God. Never could we attribute any partners whatever to God. ذلك من فضل الله علينا وعلى الناس ولكن أكثر الناس لا يشكرون. ذلك where is it? Oh, could we attribute any partners whatsoever? But comes of the grace to us and to mankind. Where is it? ذلك من فضل الله. But comes, it's in brackets. But comes of the grace of God to us and to mankind, yet most men are not grateful. I'm sorry. It's not but, it's that. Pardon me. That, Zalika is that. Zalika is that. And I know the meaning of Zalika, but still I read it as but. Pardon me. Zalika min fadlillahi علينا وعلى الناس ولكن أكثر الناس لا يشكرون. That comes of the grace of God to us and to mankind, yet most men are not grateful. Yashkurun. Shukran means thanks. There is a note to read, 1691. Again, this Joseph preaching to prisoners, remember, who wanted to know the meanings of their dreams, two fellow prisoners, former workers of the Pharaoh. Again, the same note of personal modesty. You may think I am as young as you or younger. Full stop. Yes, but I have the heritage of great men renowned for wisdom and truth, such as Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Surely, what they knew is worthy of respect. Never did they swerve a hair's breadth from the gospel of unity. It is not that we boast, It was God's grace that taught us, and God's grace is teaching all mankind. But men show their ingratitude by inventing other so called gods, small gods, small gods. All right, we go to sign 39. He continues, Ya Sahibia, Ya, Ya Sahibi, Ya Sahibi Asijni, Ar, Arbabu, Ya Sahibi Asijni Arbabu, Mutafirri, Mutafirikuna, Hayran. Oh, my two companions, Swabi, Ya Swabihibia, Ya Swahi, Bia Asijne. Oh, my two companions of prison, Asijne. Arbatu, Arbatu, Mutafarikuna, Hayran. Are many laws different among themselves better? Or Hayran, Am Allahu Al-Wahidu Al-Kahiru, or Al-Karu, yes, Al-Wahidu Al-Karu. Are many lords different among themselves better? Or God the one, supreme and irresistible? Al-Karu, I did it in previous videos. Al-Karu, Al-Kahira, Keru. Word Kero comes from that word Al-Kahira, Al-Karu, irresistible, supreme and irresistible. Al-Wahida one. Are many gods. So many gods, they differ from each other. Are they better than one God? That's the question he's asking them in prison, or he was asking them in prison. Okay, let's go to the commentary 1692. Note the personal touch again. Are we not also companions in misfortune? And may I not speak to you on terms of perfect equality? Dash. As one prisoner to another? Well then, do you really think a conflict of heterogeneous gods is better than one God, comma, the one into brackets and only one, the one and only one whose power is supreme and irresistible? The power of the other different gods are resistible, and Abraham knocked them down. Abraham went around and knocked all of them down. And when they asked them, can they speak their mouths? Huh? But who can do that to Almighty God? You smell pepper. Okay, where power is supreme and irresistible. We go to sign 40. ما تعبدون من دونه إلا أسماء سميتموها إلا أسماء سميتموها أنتم وآباؤكم ما أنزل الله بها من سلطان. أنتم وآباؤكم ma anzala Allahu biha min sultanin. What ye worship apart from him is nothing but names which ye have named. Illa asma'u samaytumuha asma'u asma'an samaytumuha. Only names that you have named. Now you carve something down and you give it a name. Wadan, or Yahuk, or Yafuk. And they are only things that you have named yourselves. You and your parents, which you have named. Ye and your fathers, ye and your fathers, for which God has sent down no authority, and for which God has sent down no authority. Bima sultanan, ma anzala Allahu biha, min sultan, which God has sent down no authority or no power, if you like. Um, Innal hukmu illa lillahi. Innal hukmu illa lillahi. He has the command is for none but God. The command is for none but God. Innal hukmu illa billahi. Innal hukmu illa lillahi. Innal hukmu illa lillahi. The command is for none but God. Amaral atabuna. Sorry. Allah tabuduna. Allah tabuduna. Illa Yahu. Illa tabuduna. Illa Allah. Sorry, it's Allah tabuduna illa Yahu. Do you worship other than him? Other than to him? He hath commanded that ye worship none but him. Command is for none but God. He hath commanded that ye worship none but him. Allah ta'buduna illa iyahu. Allah ta'buduna illa iyahu. Not to worship none but him. He hath commanded that ye worship none but him. Zalika dinil kayyimmu. Zalika dinil kayyimmu. Zalika dinil kayyimmu. That is the right religion. That is the right religion. Or if you like, the street religion. So that is the right religion by our elders. وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Most men understand not, but most men understand not. وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. But most men understand not. 1693, that's the commentary to it. 1693, that's the commentary to Psalm 40, which we've just read. Let's see. If you name other gods, they are nothing but your inventions, comma, and dash. Names which you and your fathers put forward without any reality behind them. Full stop. Who gave you authority to do any such thing? That's a question Joseph is asking the fellow prisoners, two prisoners who came to him for advice, for interpretation of dreams. Hmm? The only real, the only reality is God. Authority can come from Him alone. Authority can come from Him alone. It is only, it is only for Him to command. It is only for Him to command, to say be, and it is kun fayakun. So it is only for Him to command, and He has distinctly commanded you to worship none other than Him. That is the only religion that is right, comma and dash. That has stood, that has stood and will stand and endure forever. Indeed, that has stood and will stand and endure forever. That we should command only one God. Wahida. Hmm? He has revealed it at all times by His messengers and by His signs. Full stop. What is this? If men fail to understand, it is their own fault. If men fail to understand, it is their own fault. You have to understand that God is one and He has commanded us to worship Him, none but Him. If you fail to understand, it is your own fault. 1693. And that is commentary to sign 40. To sign 40. We now go to sign 41. Uh, I think he's not coming to the dreams. Ya Swahibia. Ya Swahibia. No, is it Swahiba? Ya Swahiba. Asijni. Amma ahadun. Amma ahadukuma fayeski rabahu. Fayeski rabahu. Oh, my two companions of the prison, Swahibia Asijni. As as to one, he will pour out the wine for his Lord to drink. Uh, Amma ahadukuma, for one of you, fayeski rabahu, hamaran wine. He will pour out the wine for the Lord to drink, Pharaoh to drink. Hamaran. Wa wa amma wa amma al-ahiru wa amma al-ahiru fayis fayislabu fata'kulu atayru. Oh. Min ra'asihi. Oh, what bad news for to listen to concerning a dream. Okay, for the Lord to drink. As for the other, he will hang from the cross, and the birds will eat from off his head. Terrible. So you see, hanging from the cross is not a new thing. It's not peculiar to Jesus only, as our Christian brothers want us to believe, or, or maybe they are not, as our Christian brothers are oblivious of. It started a long time. It was punishment in those days by the Pharaoh. He used to hang people on the cross, and they thought they could do it to Jesus, and they couldn't. They didn't succeed. So it's there long time. It's been there all long time ago. So the one prisoner will go back to his work and pour wine for Pharaoh to enjoy. The other one will hang on the cross, and birds will eat from on top of his head. Hang from the cross, and the birds will eat from off his head. Athera. Atheiru. Mera asuhu, yes. Kudia, kudia al-amru. Kudi al-amru. Allazi fihi tastaftiyani. Tastaftiyani. That whereof he said, so hath been decreed that matter whereof ye twain to enquire. So is in inverted, is in bracket. So hath been decreed, so hath been decreed that that matter whereof ye twain do inquire. So he says that is the meaning of what you two people are asking from me. It's not for me, it is decreed by God to me to tell you. Okay. Uh, that's sign 41. And there is a commentary to read 1694. 1694. Having fulfilled his great duty, the touching having fulfilled his great duty, that touching the things of the Spirit, Joseph now passes on and comes to the things in which they were immediately interested. He didn't give them an answer right away. He preached and preached and preached before coming to that. Okay, the questions which they had asked him about their dreams and pro- what they prognosticated of their immediate future. Prognosticate is spelled Prognostikate. Prognosticate. You add it to get it. Tate. Tated. Take and you add it and you get cated. Of their immediate future. Notice, full stop. Notice how Joseph again puts himself into sympathy with them by repeating the phrase of camaraderie, by repeating the phrase of camaraderie, my two companions of prison. Camaraderie, my two companions of prisons. For one, he has good news, and for the other, bad news. He does not mince matters or waste words. He just barely tells the truth, hoping that the higher spirit, hoping that the higher spiritual truths of which he has spoken will appear in their eyes, as of more importance than mere earthly triumphs, of disasters, and dash, then into brackets, in Kipling's words, I think Kipling might have been a poet or a writer or something like that. In Kipling's words, both imposters all the same. Both imposters all the same. And these are Kipling's words. That's sign 94. No, note 94 to sign 41. There is another note to read, and that's 1695. And that's 1695. And yet another one, 1696. So there are two. So the commentary is threefold: 1694, 1695, and 1696. So I think we finished with 1694. We're now going to 1694. The cupbearer had perhaps been proved innocent of the crime which had been charged against him, and was to be restored to the favor of the Pharaoh. He was to carry the cup and, and be the king's confidant again. How much more good he could do now after the spiritual influence he had imbibed from Joseph, the man of God. The man of God. Exclamation mark. He was more fortunate in having he was more fortunate in having had Joseph's company than in being restored to the intimate position with the king. Yet he was not a perfect man, as we shall see presently. That's as we shall see soon. 9:6, the last commentary to Psalm 41. For the baker, alas, alas, exclamation mark. Oh, I feel so bad to be told you will hang and bird will eat from the top of your head. How would you feel? I wouldn't be I wouldn't be able to eat that day. I would die there immediately from fear. Anyway, for the baker, alas, he had bad news, and he tells it directly without tantalizing him. Perhaps he had been found guilty. Dash, perhaps, dash, perhaps he had been really guilty. Dash of some act of embezzlement or of joining in some palace intrigue, and he was to die a malefactor's death on the cross. Malefactor is one word, Malefactor. Malefactor, a malefactor's death on the cross, following by exposure to birds, following by exposure to birds of the air, vultures of the air, birds of the air, dash vultures pecking away at pecking away at his eyes and cheeks. Terrible. And all that had been his face, and all that had been his face and head. So you can imagine when you hang them, bears have to eat. They take everything. They love the eyes. They will first of all remove the eyeballs, yep, or break them, or burst them inside and suck the juice. Pardon me to call it juice. Oh my God. Uh, uh, Pecking away at his eyes and cheeks. The cheeks are also soft, so, and also, of course, the lips and whatnot. And all that had been left in his face and head. Poor man! Exclamation mark. If he was guilty, Joseph had taught him repentance, and we should like to think that he lost in his life. We should we should like to think that he lost in this life, but gained in the next. I see. So after the preaching, if he got imbibed by Joseph's preaching, he might be saved in the hereafter. But as for this life, no, he's failed already. He's gone. But in the hereafter, that's if the word sunk into his heart, into his head and heart and mind before dying, he could be spared. He could have the mercy of God. Gained in the next, that's the next life. If he was innocent, the cruel death did not affect him. Joseph had showed him a higher and more lasting hope in the hereafter. So it was not for Joseph to tell him whether he was guilty or not. It was just his duty to relate to him what God has revealed to him, to his Joseph to tell him. And that is one thing about CS. It's one thing about CS. So you can see that God Himself has His own seers. Joseph was a seer and not the quack seers we see on television always. Hmm? Uh, pardon me, most of them. Hmm? Lasting hope in the hereafter. That's Psalm 1696. Sorry, that's commentary 1696, the third commentary to Psalm 41. Now we're going to Psalm 42. وقال للذي ظن أنه ناج وقال للذي ظن أنه ناج منهما, and of the two to that and of the two to that one whom he considered about to be saved, he said, Kala الذي ظن أنه ناج منهما اذكرني اذكرني عند ربك اذكرني عند ربك فأنساه الشيطان ذكر فأنساه الشيطان ذكر ربه فل فلبث فلبث في السجن فلبث في السجن بضع سنين. Sorry, it's not bid'ah, it's bid'ah sinin. Pardon me. Uh, he said, to that one whom he considered about to be saved, he said, mention me to thy Lord. But Satan made him forget to mention him to the Lord. And Joseph is in brackets, and Joseph lingered in prison a few more years. Oh, I see. So, of course, he was about to die, to be chopped by birds. All his thoughts might have been diverted to that. Hmm? No, not it's not that one. I'm sorry. It is the one who is saved, who is going back to his duty, with Pharaoh, to his duty to save Pharaoh. He said, "Mention me to thy Lord." I think that's the case. Mention me to thy Lord. But Satan made him forget. Satan made the saver, the one whose life will be saved, to forget to mention him to the Lord. And Joseph lingered in prison a few more years. So the Lord here is not Lord Mighty God. It's not Rabbil Alamin, but the Lord Pharaoh. Yes, but the Lord Pharaoh. He asked me, the one dying has gone already. And I said, you who are being saved, when you go, mention me to your Lord. He was too excited. I tell you, he didn't even remember that Joseph gave him the meaning of his dream. He forgot. And so Joseph had to remain in prison for more years than necessary. Joseph lingered in prison a few more years. فلبث في السجن. He lingered in prison. فلبث في السجن بضع سنين. A few years. a few more years. Bid'ah Sinin, a few more years. We go to the commentary for that, and that will be 1697 and 1698 and 1699. That's threefold. 97, 98, 99. 1697. Joseph never mentioned himself in in interpreting the dream, nor ever thought of himself in the kindness to his fellow sufferers in prison. It was afterwards when the cupbearer's dream came true, and he was being released on being restored to favor, that we can imagine him taking an affectionate leave of Joseph, and even asking him in his in his elation, and even asking him in his elation if he could do anything for Joseph. Joseph had no need of earthly favors, least of all from kings or their favorites. Full stop. The divine grace was enough for him, but he had great work to do, which he could not do in prison. Dash, work for Egypt. Of course, he couldn't do it in prison. Work for Egypt. Mm. Not by way of recommendation, not by way of recommendation, but because the king's own justice was being violated in keeping an innocent man in prison. Perhaps that might help to advance the cause of the king and of Egypt. And so he said, mention me to Pharaoh. Yes, when he said mention me to God, he meant mention me to Pharaoh. So all along he was not selfish. He did not think about himself, but it was after the work had been done, the interpretation had been done, and the luckier prisoner was going, then he asked him, mention me to Pharaoh. So, fellow viewers, I don't know who goes early, whether I or you. If you go early, mention me to God. Mm. Tell God, Suleiman bin Dawood bin Ishar bin Uway bin Yehuza bin Yakub bin Ishaq bin Ibrahim bin Azar bin Nahor bin Saru preached to me and told me to mention him to you, my Lord, Ya Allah, and he will have mercy on me. Thank you very much. Ila likai. Bye bye. Au revoir. May God bless you all.